This is the Rockler juice groove routing jig. I've seen people make these themselves, but why make it when you can buy it? It's just so much quicker and easier. I'd rather be making projects than making jigs. So let's unpack this. Let's see what's inside, and we will put it together and put some juice grooves in a couple cutting boards. Let's see what's inside. Open this up. We got our instruction manual. We have our tracks. I guess this is the hardware. We don't need that. And here's everything else we're going to need to put it together. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I'm going to read the instructions, and I'm going to assemble this thing. Alright, so first we're going to take our track, which, by the way, this is like an extruded plastic. It's not an extruded aluminum, but it feels pretty heavy duty. We're going to start with these small clips, and these are going to give us our adjustability with be able to shrink this different side boards. And we're going to slide these in, smooth, nice and smooth, into the tracks. So we'll take the nut, put it on the Allen, put our sliding piece in, we'll get it started, and then we'll slide it in. I don't want to tighten it down yet, I'm just going to leave it in so it can move. Alright, let's move on to the next step. Alright, so I got this corner piece in, bolt it in, slide it in. I got the piece to bolt this into here, so I'm going to slide this in and then attach it. Just going to allow everything to slide. Alright, so there's a lot to this, so I'm going to get the rest of it assembled, and then we'll come back and we will put the cutting board in it, and we'll cut a groove. Alright, after much futzing around, this is the assembly. I got a little confused there for a minute, but I had to just take a second look and see how everything goes. Now everything is loose, so you gotta be careful when you adjust the piece. It'll actually pull apart until it's locked down. So let's get the first cutting board in and set it up. Alright, let's see how this fits. So there's our first board. Let's get it in here. Obviously I gotta raise it up a little bit. The board's a little bit thicker, so we can get this where we want it. I'm gonna have to put some wood underneath this to give it the ability to clamp down. So we'll get that in, we'll get everything tightened up. Okay, so you put this bushing inside your router, and you're basically going to follow around, and this will give you a regular type juice groove. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting this piece in. I'm going to remove this. We're going to lock this in here like this, so it's going to route this way, around, and then up. And then it's going to leave me a little area here that I can laser engrave someone's name or whatever they like in the board. So we'll get that set up the way I'm going to use it, and we'll route some grooves. These clamping feet have two different sizes depending on the thickness of your board. That's for a thinner board. This is for a thicker board. Now even on the thicker setting, I'm still having some clearance issues. My board's a little bit thicker than it should be, and I still have gaps. So I'm going to have to shim underneath these when I clamp it to the bench. I created these shims, which are going to go between the feet and the bench. And I will clamp to them to hold the jig down. So I'll tighten these up. I'll put one in the back here. Then we'll clamp these down. Okay, so now the jig's not going to run away on us. Set our router up and we'll cut our pattern. I'll bring the camera closer and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's what our setup is. So everything's clamped down. And again, our router is going to route around an angle. Nice little curves. And back. So our juice groove is going to leave a little corner here that I can do a laser engrave and customize the board for the customer. Now you could also exchange it for this to give you a nice little square in, or with this one to give you a nice little curve. Or you could just leave it with this one in here and have 4 even curves. Alright, let's route it. We have our juice groove jig set up to the cutting board. Everything's locked down and clamped to the bench. We put the guide bush in the router. We put the juice groove bit in the router. We have it set, and now we are going to make our first plunge and hope for the best. So let's go. So I gotta say, once you get through the setup of the jig, which can get a little confusing if you don't read the instructions to 100%, I think the finished product is pretty good. We went with the juice grooves that went around and left us a spot here so that we can laser engrave a custom whatever for whoever decides to pick these up. And if you're interested in any one of these 2 cutting boards I made, I will put my Etsy store in the comments below, and you guys can take a look at them, and if you want to buy them, pick them up. Alright guys, that's it. This video wasn't meant to be a big tutorial, it's just me testing it out. I think it's pretty good. If you don't have one, pick it up, or you can make one yourself. And with that, I will see you guys next time.